Today we're talking with Kevin Fournier in the studio, and he's going to tell us all about his latest CD release, also sing one of his original songs. Then we will talk about his live interactive show and how it works. And that's coming up next on Roy's Studio Adventures. Kevin, welcome to the studio. Nice to have you here.
Nice to be back. Thank you, Roy.
We had you here a while ago, and a lot has happened since then. For the viewers that don't know you, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in the Niagara music scene, playing drums in a lot of punk and metal bands. And so that's where a lot of my roots are. And then in my early 20s, I went to Mohawk College to study the drum set. And so I was immersed more so in the world of jazz and funk. And when I finished at Mohawk, I then played on Carnival cruise ships for a few years, playing drums on the cruise ships there. And then once COVID happened, kind of derailed all of my cruise plans, so I put down roots in Niagara Falls, where I started the band Stuck in the 90s with my friend Lee. And I also have a number of original projects that are kind of just like one of them is just getting off the ground. It's called Strict Night. It's a drum show where I remove the drums from popular dance music using AI, and then I play the drums over top of them in my own unique style. And then my main project, my original music project, Strict Month, is something that I've been doing for years and years, and I just actually in the last week released my first full-length album, which is a collection of songs that I recorded over the course of the last, I'd say, like 15 to 20 years, just like all of my backlog of the best songs that I've written that I couldn't record in any meaningful way. I then, in the last couple of years, took those songs and gave them the proper treatment that I was looking to give them all those years ago. And what else? What do I do? I've got a new project on the horizon with the singer from Stuck in the 90s. We've got a Morgan Wallen tribute band that's about to start up. First show will be March 20th. I'll have to double check that number. I have it in my calendar. And then we're at Sanctuary in Fort Erie in April. I think April 13th. So a lot of hats that I'm spinning. I also teach music on the side, doing private drum lessons and home production, songwriting, guitar, keys, all the stuff. I used a AI software that is available. It's just like I think it was called like vocalremover.org, but what part of the technology is that you can separate the primary instruments into 4 different tracks. So you'll have like the guitar track, which can be separated, the vocal track, the bass, and the drums. And so for my purposes, I would go in and turn the slider down on the drums, and then it would just be just the music.
How did you get the idea for that show? Where did it start?
That's actually a nice question. It was while I was on ships. On my first ship contract, the music director and myself were always kind of looking for ways to provide new and exciting entertainment to the guests on board. And one of the things that we tried was to have me, after my regular night of sets in the casino, at the end of the night, I would take a small drum set up to the nightclub where there would be a DJ and people dancing to like club music. And I would set up by the DJ booth, and it would be kind of like DJ plus drums. And I would just go and kind of like rip drums over the dance music. And it was a big hit. There'd be big crowds all around, and everybody seemed to really like it. And we only did it like a handful of times before the end of that contract, and it never came up again. And then in the last, say, few months, I was looking for a way that, as a drummer, to go and gig without being reliant on a band to get gigs. And so I started like racking my brain trying to think of ways that I could make that happen. And then I remembered that thing that I did on the ship with my friend Danny. And then the pieces started to come into place. At first it was just like, oh, I'll play drums to these dance songs. And then along the way, I got the idea to remove the drums because I knew that technology was now starting to become more commonplace and available to everyone. And the rest is kind of history. Like I said, I'm still in the kind of beginning phases of this, kind of like test phasing. I've done a few performances with it now, kind of just ironing out the kinks and everything. And then while I was working on this show, I had the idea that because I was using a lot of lights in my basement, in my little rehearsal space, I'm kind of a sucker for like nice lighting in the room, just general ambiance. I feel like it's really conducive to creative work. And it was on the back of that I started to think more in terms of a visual show for my drum show. And so I started editing these videos, just like interesting visuals that I could find on YouTube, and I would edit them in such a way where they would go with the music. And so like I would have in the video built into it musical moments that sometimes were an accident and sometimes were crafted by me, but I found it to be really, really interesting. So I've got this kind of like combination of like really unique things going on with this project. The fact that it's just the drummer, the fact that it's the original recording with the drums removed, and then the original videos that I edit to kind of like enhance the show. And then there's another component that's kind of like untested by most people, and it's the voting part of it.
That was my next question.
Yeah, so I don't even know where I got the idea for this. Like all these ideas are just kind of coming to me over the course of the few weeks that I was building this show. So basically, with using a QR code, and I've got all these like printed little like they're almost like coasters but a bit bigger. And at the performance, I put them around the performance space, and then audience members can come and scan the QR code with their phone. I also have it projected on the screen where my visuals go, like in between sets and before the show. And that QR code takes you to a link tree which has buttons that are labeled vote on sets, and there's like some other things that take you to my socials. But if you click on the vote on sets, you'll see all of the different themed genre sets that I am able to do, and from set to set I check to see which has the most votes, and then that set becomes the next one that I play, and so on. So it's a kind of a one of a kind show. I don't think there's anything out there that is exactly like that.
Are the types of music extreme to each other, or are they close in styles?
They're pretty far apart, I would say, because on one end I've got like a 90s pop set, which caters to a certain type of crowd. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I've got like vintage funk from like the early 70s, Tower of Power, Average White Band, Earth, Wind and Fire, that kind of stuff. And hard pressed to find too many genres that are as diametrically opposed as those two. And I have everything in between. There's indie dance rock in there. I've got a modern funk set, which is like all the funk bands from the internet age, like Wolfpack and Corey Wong and those type of dudes, Snarky Puppy, Medeski, Martin and Wood. There is what else? I've got hip hop sets, 90s and modern. So like it really runs the gamut. Basically, my criteria was anything that I find to be extremely danceable. So like there's a lot of music with like 4 on the floor, like the 90s stuff is like a lot of that. A lot of the more straight ahead dance stuff is like just like straight 4 to the floor groove music. I have the song Rosanna by Toto, which is like an iconic drum beat, the Rosanna Shuffle, and I try to do it as faithfully as I can for the drummers in the audience. And like Soul Vaccination by Tower of Power, which is like another iconic drum song, and I try to play that one as faithfully as I can. So it's kind of a mix between music that I know to be very dancey and music that I know to be very dancey, but also that has like this challenge to it that like any drummers in the audience will like get a kick out of it.
Please hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like. It's free and it's good luck.
There exists a place, a web of purple, pink and blue. Love to see you there. I'd love to sing this song to you in this fractal air. Familiar ghosts in hot pursuit, and it's beyond compare. Unbridled bringer of the truth, and it's right behind your eyelids. The evidence is everywhere. A well-kept secret shown to few. That all the things you've come to know is real or merely particles held together by something. And it's right behind your eyelids. It's right behind your eyelids. Step into the void. You've been here countless times before. Reflect on former lives and plan to live 10,000 more within this colored light. You'll ask your questions, find your doorway to the other side, and it's gonna shake you to your core. And it's right behind your eyelids. The evidence is everywhere, and yet we overlook the best kept secret shown to few. That all the things you've come to know is real, or only real enough to really tell you real is but a fraction of the deal. And it's right behind your eyelids. It's right behind your eyelids. If only we could see it and receive the message, we might begin to heal and paint the canvas of the earth. 10,000 new perspectives to consider. It's like 10,000 different shades to paint the canvas of the earth. It's right behind your eyelids. The evidence is everywhere, and yet we overlook the best kept secret shown to few.
Thanks very much for watching the video all the way through. I'd also like to thank Kevin for coming out and joining us here on Roy's Studio Adventures. That's it for today. Remember, go see a live band, be good to each other, and until next time.